Recreation Director Matt Veronese here, and we have a very special guest with us, Shelton Taylor, who we met 2 years ago, actually 3 years ago, at New Windsor Community Day, where he came in and performed for us all the way from Texas, and he performed on the big stage, and then he came back the year after. Shelton is a tremendous musician, has so much, a bright future ahead for him, and we're so glad that he joined us today. We have exciting news with a song that he released, and we're so happy to have you. Thank you so much for joining us from sunny California, Shelton. We're having snow outside right now here in New York, and it's going to be a blizzard on Wednesday. So how's the weather? Just make us jealous right now.
Wow. The weather here is great. I would assume it's like in the 70s right now outside, and we just had a light rain last night, but it's one of the first rains we've had all year. Yeah, I don't think we'll be expecting snow, so I want to have a white Christmas.
I want you to think about us when we're shoveling the snow during the blizzard later this week, and you're out on the beach. I want you to just think of us and remember us.
I will. I'll say a prayer for you guys.
All right. Thank you.
So, first I wanted you to talk a little about when we last left you, when you left New Windsor in 2018. You were still living in Texas at the time, but I know shortly after you made a big move. Why don't you tell everybody about the big move you made at the very tender age of 18 years old?
Yes. Yeah, it was a big move. I moved from Texas to California on my own. Basically had nothing. I just packed up all I had in my car and drove out. It was a crazy experience. It was right after I played there at your guys' the Windsor Day. I guess it would have been, that was the summer. It was like the fall after that, and I just turned 18. I'd been out to California before, and I'd actually stayed out there during a summer just the year earlier, and I'd just kind of gotten the vibe of the place. I'd met some people who I ended up playing music with, kind of started a little band, and so I just felt called. I felt like, the music scene where I was, the little town, it was great. I had support, but it's just nothing like it out here. Out here, like, there's so much going on, and so I just kind of made the leap, and it was definitely a crazy adventure.
So what is it like being 18 years old and out on your own? I mean, I have 4 kids. One of them's an adult. The rest are small, under 9. I just can't imagine, like, them going out in the world at that age all by themselves. What was it like? I mean, tell us a little bit about what that experience was like.
Yeah, it was crazy. I know it's not too uncommon to see kids leave at 18, but there's a difference between leaving and like moving next door
to going to college and then coming back for every holiday. Yeah.
Right. But I was in a different state, and some holidays I couldn't make it back, but it was definitely crazy. When I got there, I had a friend. I was just kind of like crashing on his couch, and it was just like, it was about like creating a community, and just like having good people that can like help build you up. Because I think if you don't have people around you that are going to pour into you, there's really no way. It doesn't really matter how old you are. It's going to be hard to make it on your own. So it was really good. I actually stayed with a friend for a while before I could save up enough money to start paying for my own place. And yeah, I was really grateful to have that. I know not everybody has that right off the bat.
Now, what did you do to pay your bills? I mean, did you work? I mean,
yeah. So I right off the bat, I just started playing. I went around to like different spots, whether it be restaurants or bars, and even some small festivals. And this was obviously before the world was as it is, so you could just go talk to people. And I just drove around, started talking to people, started connecting with people. I had some friends who were already playing music with me, and it was really back and forth. I didn't have like a lot of like solid connects right off the bat, but there were a couple places that let me play, and that's all you need to start out. Because I started playing at a couple places a couple times a week, and I would meet people, and they'd be like, "Oh, I know this guy who owns a bar, and like north of downtown," and it was just really great because like I just really got to meet a bunch of people that even today support me and support what I'm doing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So after being there for a little while, I know you auditioned for American Idol. Why don't you tell everybody in New Windsor a little bit about that whole experience?
It was a pretty crazy experience. Yeah, so actually, I knew I was going to do American Idol even before I moved out, which sounds crazy, because it's like, wait, that's like 2 years prior. But I guess it was about a year and a half. They had reached out to me in the past. I mean, like way in the past, like when I was like 15, 16. And I just never really saw myself doing something like that. I'm like very much an artist, and I'm not really about like the whole like show,
mainstream
yeah,
kind of music.
right. Yeah. I think that like it's great, and I always had this mentality like, oh, like if I do that, they'll just like give me a contract and I'll get stuck in like this limbo of like I'm signed, but like I can't really put out my own music. And so that was kind of a fear of mine. So I never really told them yes. And then at a certain point when I was moving out, it just became super practical. They just kept giving me kind of like a better deal. Eventually they were like, you don't even have to try out. Just like, if you're ever out in LA, just like come through. We'll let you go straight to the live auditions. And so I was finally like, okay, like I'll try it out.
Now, when you say when they reached out to you, explain how they knew about you. I mean, you had a pretty big following on social media since you were what, 14 or 15 years old?
Yeah. So I had the whole mentality, or not really the mentality, but just like from an early age, I think people saw me as like this child prodigy, and it was good in a lot of ways, but it was also hard in a lot of ways, because like coming out of that and growing up, I wanted to become my own artist and my own person, and I had this kind of like label put on me that was like, you have to stay young forever, and you have to be this kid who sings and you know, and sings covers, whatever. And I always had the dream of just making my own music, and just making music that people could enjoy and that could impact people positively. So yeah, so they saw me off of there. So I was in their radar, and the way those shows work is it is somewhat real, but it's also made to where they have their own casting producers. So American Idol has a whole team that casts people. So they go find top, you know, people around the country. So like the top 10 artists on American Idol that year, I think almost all of them were already casted by the casting producers. So right. They could have been in LA.
So yeah, when you see the audition process on TV, you know, you're not seeing the first audition people go on. They're not seeing the judges right there. Right. It takes many rounds before they get to see those judges, right?
Right, 100%. And yeah, and that's, I would say, like the majority of people that actually try out have to go through that process. But I was surprised to find out that the people that like made it to like the top 20, or you know, the places where I were like almost all just casted. Like they lived in LA. American Idol emailed them, reached out, said, hey, we like your music, we would love it if you would be on our show. And so I would say there was like 10 or 20 of us that didn't even try out. We just went straight to the live auditions, which means we didn't try out in front of like the producers. We just went and played in front of the judges, and it was like obviously aired. And so yeah, it's definitely a different process than I thought, for sure.
Right. So when you tell everyone how far you got, and like what the process was like when you got to that first audition with the judges to where you ended up with.
So it was definitely a crazy journey. When I first auditioned, I actually wasn't sure if I was going to make it. They definitely have a way of like evoking emotion, because just like any show, they want to keep the audience captivated. And so when I tried out, I think my audition went well. My auditions actually didn't air because, and I'll get to this in a little bit, but basically like they take a bunch of video of a bunch of people and all kinds of different stuff. And then after they get all this video, then they create the story with the B-roll that they have, so to speak. So, but my audition went pretty well. 2 of the judges said yes, and then Luke Bryan said no on the first round. And I guess what they were planning on doing was having him kind of come around, because after that he would end up saying yes to like all my auditions, or I guess all my performances, because after that it's not really an audition. So yeah, so the first one I thought went well, but I was honestly unsure if I made it. And so I found out I made it. And then the next round was Hollywood Week. And that was pretty crazy. I think Hollywood Week had like 6 or 7 performances. And it was a lot of fun. It was crazy. It was like you were up all night. either practicing, or we did like group rounds. So that means you sing with other people and you had to learn the song overnight, and some pretty crazy experiences. I had this one guy, and I'm not gonna bash on anyone, but we had one group that I was in that was really hard because one guy kind of like took over everything, and everybody like wasn't on board with what he was doing, but we were all just kind of like, okay, we'll just do it, because he was a very like very he had a very like very crazy personality. And so
Wait, now, how far did he actually go? Did he? You don't have to tell us who it was, but did he make it very far?
no, he didn't. I found out that like a lot of it is your story and your personality. Right. Like with shows like this, like, yeah, like if you sing great, that's awesome, but there were so many good singers that got cut like right off the bat, just because they didn't have like the story that they wanted for the show, or the personality, or the vibe.
Right. They wanted to sell advertising. They wanted a good,
exactly.
storyline. Right.
Right. They want to have a storyline. They want to have characters, and they want to have character development.
It is it's a TV show. People forget that. You know, it is a singing competition, but it's a TV show first.
Right. And I'm not going to rag on American Idol and say that like, oh, they have everything planned out, but that is definitely some mentality that a lot of people have, is that like, oh, they have everything staged. And I don't really know, to be exact, but there's definitely a lot more of that than we think in live TV. That you think like, oh, this is like live, and it's like, well, but these producers know what they're doing, and they're also creating a story that's going to keep you watching TV, because that the more they keep you on watching, the more money they make through ads. And so
you made it all the way to the round in Hawaii, right? So what was that? You made it to top 20?
Yeah. So I got cut like at the top 20. So when so basically I made it past Hollywood Week, and that was really, really exciting. It's like, so it was so emotional, because that whole week you're not getting any sleep, and it was fun. Everybody's parents were there. My mom didn't get to make it to that one, but I didn't expect her to be able to come, because she was busy with a bunch of stuff, and she ended up making it to Hawaii with me, which was amazing. So she ended up coming out, and it was I wouldn't say it was a vacation, because we were definitely working around the clock, but it was a crazy experience for us to get to visit Hawaii together, and I'm so grateful to God that we got to do that.
Yeah, that's my dream vacation someday. So what was it? Is it really awesome?
I encourage it. It's really, really awesome. It was it's definitely one of the most beautiful places. It's just like the ocean there, and the waves there, and just the atmosphere. It really feels like you're on another planet. It was pretty crazy, but it was really cool being there and being able to just like interact with people. I think at that point, one thing that was really cool was that all the different musicians were able to get closer, because it was down to about like 40 of us or something, and so we were all able to like get to know each other. And I remember having one night, a lot of us were Christians, and so we had like a worship session in the hotel, which was super thick, and almost everybody attended. It was awesome. It was just like some random person's hotel room, because we all had like different hotel rooms, and we all just like texted each other. We met up, and we all just like were singing worship songs, and it was just like amazing.
That's awesome.
So unfortunately, you didn't get to go, past that round, but it was an amazing experience. So when you got home to California, tell us a little bit about what you started doing. And I really love the story of building your own home studio. Let everybody know what came about after American Idol for you.
Yeah, I would say that after American Idol, I was still in touch with a lot of the friends I had met on there, and what I found was that all the people that had made it past the point I did were automatically put in a contract with the TV show where they couldn't put out music for another 12 months. And so basically like the show kind of owned them. And that was something that I know had been said throughout the show, like, we'll put you in a contract if you make it this far. And I think some people were excited to do that. But the thing is, the show is really only or the label, which owns the show, there's labels that are behind the shows. Right. So the label's only really going to use maybe 3 of those people. And so a lot of them just don't end up being able to do much for that whole period of time. So figuring that out, I was like, wow, well, this is a blessing, like God, thank you so much that that I made it this far, that I was able to meet the people I did, because I made like amazing connections, and I got to meet, you know, the judges, who I thought were all really nice. I did think Katy Perry was like a little extra, but she was definitely sweet. And yeah, so coming out of that, I was like, well, you know, I think God had a bigger plan with me, and even a bigger purpose than that. Because I'm seeing a lot of my friends from the show, even the music they're putting out, I feel like it's doing great. But I also feel like there is that mentality of like, okay, I'm stuck in a label, so everything I put out, they've been like talking to me. It's like they kind of have to go through the label, which is great. But these days you see artists getting huge that are not signed at all. So I'm hoping to be able to get to a big place on my own, and then go to a label, and then be like, because that way you're not getting, that way you're getting the better deal instead of the worst deal.
So you're producing the kind of music you want to produce, as opposed to some businessman in a suit.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so tell us about your studio. It's a really great story.
Oh yeah, it is. Oh, it's a crazy story. So basically, after I came off that, I started working a job, and I was like, because I played in bands and done American Idol and done all these things, and I was like, I feel like I've just been jumping for my dream, like just jumping for it, and I felt like God was telling me, like, slow down, like start taking like steps towards it, start taking like solid steps, and like having a little more of a game plan. And so I started doing that. I started working a job. I started saving up. I was able to get debt free, which was like a huge accomplishment for me. I'd been living on my own for a while. And so I did that. I started saving money. I started just kind of researching how to like build a studio, because I wanted to start working on my own music. And at the end of this time period when I was working, the whole world kind of shut down with the quarantine. And so I was like, all right, man, like, God, what's your plan here? And but it turned out, it ended up working out for my good, because I just ended up taking that time and working, building myself a studio. I bought a trailer for a couple grand, and then it was like all bare, nothing inside. I still remember getting it, and I insulated it first so you could live in it basically. And I then put like nice like wood paneling, and I put like sound insulation in the inside, so if you like make a bunch of music in there, you won't bother anybody. And I cut out some windows. I put like a little kitchen in there. I ended up also putting solar panels on top. I did like a bunch of research, and found out that I could do it like financially. Like I could use 4 solar panels and have enough power basically to supply a small cabin. And so I was like, all right, that should be good, like to supply a studio. So it took me a while. I think it took me like almost 6 months to finish everything. So it was quite the project. But once it was done, it was such a blessing. It was amazing. It was a studio that I was able to move around, so I could move it. I could go produce on the beach, and it blocks out all the sound. And I'm able to just like make the music I want to make in there. And it was also a blessing because I'd been renting, and I'd been looking around for places to be able to produce, because my landlords weren't really about making sound, which I totally get. And all the places I was looking for, a lot of them just had roommates or just neighbors that couldn't really deal with sound. So I was just like, like, how am I going to work this? How am I going to be able to build a studio that I can actually use out here? And finally that idea came to be, and it's been insane. I started right off the bat producing, and I have a bunch of songs like already in place to be dropped out, and it's just super exciting. I'm so thankful.
All right, so with your whole studio being done, you're producing the songs. You just released your first song that that you've been producing. It's called "Breaks Just Right," and we're gonna play it for everyone in a second. Tell us a little bit about what the process was like creating that song, what the meanings of the words are. A little bit about it. It's a great song. I highly recommend everyone to check it out, and we'll show it here in a second. But tell us a little bit a little about Breaks Just Right.
For sure. So Breaks Just Right. It was one of the first songs that I produced on my own, that I was really excited about. I mean, I'd been producing here and there for a couple of years just in my spare time. But whenever quarantine shut down the whole world, I left California for a little bit to go visit my mom. And so I was there for a little bit and I had some free time. And so I just pulled out my laptop and I was thinking like, all right, like I'm just going to start producing. And the first song I worked on was Breaks Just Right. And the night after I made the demo, I'll give you a little bit of the process of how I made the song.
Okay.
But I made the song one night pretty late, and I kind of like was up like all night making it. I slept in and got up and I listened to it. And I was like, wow, like I don't think I've ever made something like this. I recorded all the instruments myself.
How many instruments do you play?
On this one, I played so basically like these instruments, a lot of them are MIDI instruments. So like I made the drums, I played like the bass line, I played the piano or the synth in this song, and the pad, and what else? I put some guitar in there, so I played some electric guitar in the song. I obviously did some vocals in the song, a bunch of different vocal layers, and trying to think what else. I also put some different like audio, like how do you say it?
Effects.
Yeah, I put some audio effects, but I put some conversations and some cool little like audio clips in the song to give it more of a story.
Right.
So I thought that was really cool. So yeah, I did that one night, and I woke up next morning. I was like, wow, like I'm really excited about this. I want to keep on working on it. And within about 2 days, and I would say maybe 12 hours straight of working, the whole song was done. So it wasn't like a crazy long process, but it was very fast. So I finished all the producing one night, and then I recorded the vocals the next night. And the song originated actually probably 3 years ago. So I wrote the song a long time ago.
Okay.
About like a heartbreak I'd been through, and I just kind of held on to it, and I played it at my live shows, and I just had a good response from it. So when I made the track, I was like, man, I feel like this really fits this song, and the emotion really fits it. Whenever I'm writing, a lot of times I'll have some chords that like make me feel a certain way, that make me feel a certain emotion, and then I'll just kind of think back to a time that like I felt that emotion and just tell myself that story. So if the chords make you feel, like you're reminiscing, or like you're sad or you're happy, I'll just think back to like an experience that I think really can display that emotion and help people feel that emotion. And so yeah, so I felt like this instrumental really just fit that, and I was really excited about it. So I literally the next night I was recording like all night, and I think I was up till like 3 a.m. Recording. So when I put the demo out on SoundCloud, and it said like recorded at 3:25 a.m. or whatever, because it was just like one of those nights. And it was cool because I was with my family, so I got to spend time with my family. So I didn't have a lot of time to produce, which is why you see me like way up in the night. I was just like in my car, just like singing into my computer. And I was just so excited when I finished it. I was like, wow, like I've never made something that I feel like I could put out, and this is something I feel like I could put out that represents my style pretty well. And yeah, I recorded it into my computer at first. I came back, and as I was producing in my studio, I was able to record new vocals on a really nice microphone, and just like kind of re-record some of the instruments to make sure it sounded really good, so it was ready to release.
That's awesome. So it just got released on, what was the date again?
December 4th was the date it released, so pretty recently.
And how's the response been so far with it?
Oh, it's been so good. And as you said, like I've had a following on Instagram for a while, and I've just had a crazy life. I mean, you followed my life a little bit, and it's just like it's definitely been I've been through a lot of things. It feels like I've lived like 3 lives. So it's been a long time coming. I've been telling my fans, like, I really want to get music out. I'm trying my hardest. I'm doing these different things. The whole point of doing American Idol was just thinking, like, maybe this will get me in a place where I can get in a studio and I can put out music. Because that's my heart, is I just love writing. I love singing. I love making people feel a certain way with music, and just yeah. So I would say the response has been really good off of Instagram. I've just been putting it out to everyone and kind of sending it out to everyone, and they've all been super excited, as you can imagine, because they've been waiting 5 years to hear my songs. And I think what else is cool is people have seen how I've progressed, right? Like songs, and produce them all on my own, and just be really in a very professional place. But yeah, and it's all glory to God. It's all glory to the people that have been in my life and helped me, like yourself, because there's no way I would have imagined me getting to this point on my own. And this is not to say I'm not going to work with other people. Like, I'm super excited to be able to work with other producers, especially as the world opens up again. But I'm just really excited, and the response has been so amazing. Everybody's been super excited about it. I don't even think I've had like one person that actually is a fan that hasn't really loved the song. So yeah, it's been amazing.
You're worried, your shoulders fell down in the backseat of your car. Maybe I said too much, I'm worried. Maybe I went too far this time. Call me on the phone later in the night, yeah. Freaking out, I hear you start to cry, yes. Oh God, she makes my heart just right. Oh God, praying that I'll survive tonight. Oh God, she makes my heart just right. Oh God, praying that I'll survive tonight. Sometimes I write songs about you. I tell my friends that I've moved on, that's not true. Maybe one day you'll hear this and find me. I guess I'll never know. Oh God, she makes my heart just right. Oh God, praying that I'll survive tonight. Oh God, she makes my heart just right. Oh God, praying that I'll survive tonight. I'm worried, maybe I went too far. I'm worried, later in the night, maybe I went too far this time. Say you're freaking out, I hear you start to cry, yes. Oh God, she makes my heart just right. Oh God, praying that I'll survive tonight. Oh God, she makes my heart just right.
It's great. So I definitely highly recommend it. Where can people get that song?
Yeah, so the song is out on all streaming platforms. So I distributed it on my own, and it's so the big ones. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, it's on Amazon Music, it's on YouTube, and Tidal, and like even all the little streaming platforms that you might have. You can just look up Shelton Taylor, and it'll be the only song under Shelton Taylor since it's my first single, and so you can just click on that. And I'm also putting out another song within the month, and so I'm going to start telling people about that here soon. So I'm really excited about that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So to go on from where you told a little bit about your backdrop. Now you have 8 kids in your family, 7 siblings, 4 sisters and 3 brothers. Do all of those kids have the same musical a gift that you do, or do some of them have other things that they're really good at?
I would say they all kind of have their own thing that they are really good at. That being said, when I visited them, there's definitely some talent in the family. My little sister has an amazing voice. Lakeland and Brighton, who are both my little sisters, just sing amazingly. They blend really well. So who knows? Like I could definitely see some of them doing music in the future. But I definitely know from the ones that are old enough to kind of pick their path, they all kind of have their own like unique, very like cool futures. I mean, my older brother has been taking photos for a long time now, and so he's kind of pursuing that, doing photography and videography, and it's been really awesome, especially me as an artist, being able to collaborate with him and make art together, and just like do shoots for the just for the song release process and everything. So yeah, he's amazing. He's a photographer. Look him up. His at is Scotland. What is it?
Scotland Wise.
His at is Scotland Wise on Instagram.
I followed, with following your story for a few years now. I've gotten to see your brothers and your sisters a little bit on your social media, and they're definitely very talented. Your one brother that's next in line, younger than you, does a bunch of drone stuff. Is amazing, and I've seen your sisters dance and sing, and I'm sure. And I know your mother seems like she's really talented too. Why don't you just give a little like what your mom does?
Yeah, so actually, so my brother started taking photos because my mom is a photographer, and she's been working for a huge children's clothing company for a while now. A children's clothing company out of Birmingham, Alabama, called Hannah Kate. And so she has helped design their magazines and taken all of their photos. And even as life has been crazy for her, she's just kept with that, and the company's been really kind to her. And she's always taken photos, and I love it because she's an artist. She's a true artist, and she's really inspired me to do what I do. And she also sings and plays the piano, and so she's really an inspiration for me.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So who would you say is your biggest musical influence that in your life, or it could be more than one? Like who's been the most influential for you as a musician? Would you say?
Okay, it would have to be more than one. I would say if we're thinking about like sound wise, like how I'm putting out music now, there's a band called Tame Impala that you should all look up. It's an Australian band, and the reason why I like them is because their music is just it's very pure in that it feels like he just created it out of nothing. You have music that you listen to on the radio that can sound like, they use a guitar, they use the drums, and it just sounds very like, okay, this is how music should sound, which is great. And I think I've definitely had influences from mainstream music, but this band is just really cool because like all of his sounds are just very personal to him, and he's like such an artist. So yeah, look up Tame Impala. It's a one-man band. He basically produces everything himself. His name's Kevin Parker. And another influence I would have to say would be like a little bit older influences. I have like some of my favorite songs are by like the Bee Gees or like Earth to Fire, you know, Michael Jackson. Like a lot of that influenced this last song. A lot of people describe it as being like a 70s or like a 80s slow dance song. So it's definitely, this song particularly is inspired by the past. And then I would have to say, growing up, like I still enjoy worship music like so much. Like I have such a passion for it. And there's a band called Leland, and it's particularly this one dude, and his voice is just insane, and his songwriting is amazing. So I'd encourage you guys to look up Leland.
No, definitely check that one out.
So tell us a little bit about what the, we're going to wrap up here in a second. You're going to sing a song for us. Tell us a little bit about what the future entails for Shelton Taylor. What can we watch out for?
I am super excited about the future because I have a lot coming out, especially like music wise. So here soon I'm putting out another song. I'll be dropping 4 singles this spring, and then I'll be dropping an album in the summer. So in summer of 2021, you'll have your first full-length LP. And I'm already working on songs for like albums like the second and the third album. Like I already have like, I've written thousands of songs, but I have like some pulled aside that I'm like, I think these are special. I think you guys would really enjoy these. And I'm excited to see what God does, especially I've been praying that the whole thing with this virus would pass. I'm not saying that it'll pass soon, but I'm just kind of praying that like eventually I can go on tour here. We definitely have plans to go on tour and just be able to visit even like you guys and just play you all the songs I've been working on. And I would say if we're thinking like long-term future, I definitely would like to bring my music to the world. And I think there's a lot of music in store that like, yeah, I have music that's real and that like tells stories of real situations. But I also have like a lot of like hope and a lot of light that I want to share. That's just like bubbling up inside of me. And so I'm super excited. I definitely want to travel the world someday and play music for everybody. And just give people hope, and just those people who are confused or even just like ever thought about like taking their life or anything. Like I just want to reach out to those people and like tell them like, yeah, there's someone who's felt that before, and it's also it's something you can get past, and it's something you can move past.
Well, such an amazing story, and we look forward to having you back in New Windsor, hopefully in the very near future. With the vaccine out there, hopefully we'll be back by summer doing things like we're used to. So what song are you're gonna end the interview with today for us?
I'll play you guys a song. Well, I thought I would play just kind of some shortened versions of a couple. I know you asked for a Christmas song.
You can do it. No, you can do whatever. You can do whatever.
I thought I'd play you like I thought I'd play you a little piece of a Christmas song for you guys. Just see how this goes. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Yes, jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. So there's your Christmas cover.
Nice. We're getting me in the spirit here.
Yeah. I thought you guys would enjoy that one. And then I'm also gonna play a song here that I'm excited about. This is the next song I'm putting out after the one I'm putting out, or this is the next song I'm putting out after Breaks Just Right.
So this will be when is this one being released again?
So this one will be released actually next month.
Okay.
And I'll post the exact date on that here soon. And it's called Remember.
All right, great.
Time
time to explain it, and I promise that I'll change your mind. Love ain't a game or a bracelet. It's the life that we had. Remember, crying on your shoulder in September. Hold you on by the fire in December. Telling each other secrets in the shower. Maybe to never same way as me. Somebody force me. I'm wondering, will someone ever hold me the same? Trying to be creative, but I know I'm not wasting my time. Love ain't a game or a bracelet. It's the life that we had. Remember, crying on your shoulder in September. Hold you all by the fire in December. Telling each other secrets in the shower. So I gotta call again. Ready? Telling each other secrets in the shower.
Awesome job, and we're so happy to have Shelton Taylor here with us today. Shelton, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you in person in Windsor again real soon, and we look forward to watching you grow. I mean, you've grown from a young man into a man and an amazing singer, and we really look forward to seeing you keep going forward. And I do want to say that not only are you a great singer, but you're a really good person too. And it's been great knowing you, and I look forward to seeing the great things you have ahead.
Thank you so much, Matt. I'm so grateful that you took the time just to call me up and just see how everything is. And I really do want to come back. I met a bunch of awesome people there, and I love the town there. And it definitely feels super homey for me. And I plan on coming back when everything opens up.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks again to Shelton. Where can people follow your career? Like, what social media platforms are you on? How can they find you?
Yes, go ahead, follow me on Instagram if you'd like. It's at Shelton Taylor. You can also follow me on Spotify. That's a big one right now. It's at Shelton Taylor. And just wherever you guys are at, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, just feel free to look me up, and I'll have more music for you guys soon.
All right. Awesome. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Matt.